Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Prolix Comics Bollix, where me, Nick, and himself
Clive.
talk about comics um, at length. Normally we're on it's a he said situation where one
Yeah.
week I recommend something and or the next month, I guess.
Well, I don't know if we recommend. Sometimes we recommend, but often, as because we decided to choose things we haven't read before, often it's not so much. We're hoping that something might
Yes,
be good.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, for reasons that escape me right now, Clive had chosen something that we will get to, but then at the
Yep.
last minute realized he wanted to wait for another friend to join us to do that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then in that moment, he panicked, faced with having to make a decision on a very
Yes. Yes. We want
reduced
another
time scale.
member of the extended Sylvanian family that is this
I
channel.
like that. I like that idea that we're all just little mice in.
Giant. Are they mice?
I thought they were mice, the Sylvanian family,
Oh, I thought they were rabbits.
or maybe they are
I
little
should
little.
know. A friend of mine does the voiceover for some of the um, Japanese commercials, I think.
Oh, wow! I remember watching it as a kid. I think
Yeah,
in
it's still
Ireland.
going. It's still going strong. It's amazing. It's one of those weird things like who was it? Was it you I was talking to? Were we talking about a toy? Oh no, sorry. It was someone I'd met on a job. There, his wife does the voice for some like really popular new toy. That's like
Okay.
her job. um, and she makes good money working for this company, and that company only does that toy. So it's a bit like Hello Kitty or something. I know Sandra do other things, but it's pretty
Yes.
much
Yeah.
fueled. Yeah, so something about Sylvanian families taps into something that, yeah, that it's still going strong.
Well, sure. The Moomins are still around too, I think, aren't they?
Moments, whereas classics like the big yellow teapot seem to have gone by the wayside, sadly.
Hmm.
Uh,
Um, So anyway,
anyway,
so so
yes,
on so on short notice, what I did was I simply opened up a file that I have here on my computer of like things that I have grabbed over the years that I have either read before or haven't. And I noticed that MW, which is I guess pronounced moo for some reason.
yeah,
Um,
it's apparently the most popular manga among cows for
uh,
that reason.
it makes
It's the only manga they can ask for in shops. Ooh, and they immediately get handed it for the 10th time, and they're like, well,
oh,
okay, they traipse off and read it for the millionth time, chewing their
yeah.
cud.
Um,
See, you don't get top bovine humor like that anywhere
oh
else.
no, this is your one-stop shop for all of your heifer related
Yes.
comedic needs.
I'll be honest, I
Um,
think that's the only manga cow joke I have in my arsenal. Uh,
anyway, so what this is, so at one point, so when I came back to Canada after living in Japan for a decade, I immediately went to university to get my teaching license because they allow you to teach in Japan without having any actual teaching credentials, which is a nice thing about
they
going
allow
there
you to do all sorts of things here.
without being properly qualified. Yeah.
Yeah,
So when I got back here, I
as
went.
long as you're not Japanese,
Yes, yes.
weirdly enough.
Yes, Gaijin Crash or Smash or whatever it's called. But so yeah, I went into the library and I was quite stunned. I might have said this before at some point on one of these shows, but I went into the library and found that there was a massive section of comics, which when I had left in 2002, university libraries didn't have like walls of graphic novels. That was
No,
a totally new
in
thing.
those days, were you to come into the university cap in hand with a comic, sir, may I put this comic in the library, sir? Immediately, a corpulent Victorian gentleman with a waistcoat
Yes,
and a cigar would laugh you out of the room and spill his port, wouldn't he?
exactly.
As
So
played by Charles Laughton.
yes. So basically I went in and
Comic! Did you
well
hear, gentlemen? He wants to enter a comic! me away with you, lad.
Yes, yeah, pretty much that's how it went down. So, and then it also came from an experience of having lived in Japan for 10 years. And it's, if you are a comics fan, it's fucking infuriating to live in Japan and be surrounded by acres and acres of manga that
Hmm.
you can't read if you're an illiterate buffoon like me.
I remember
So,
you telling me a quite amusing story actually, and it was funny because I'd already been here for a while before you came along. So you put it into context for me was like you were talking to one of your friends. It may be the aforementioned. He's been invited on, but he refuses to come. Tavis, I think. You
mhm.
were talking to him, uh, and you were talking about just the stuff you were seeing, and he was asking, why are you not, grabbing all this stuff and documenting things? And you put it into context. You like because I think you were talking particularly about, like about erotic manga or something like that, and you were like, Tavis, I I went down to my garbage room today,
Mhm.
and there was like a foot high stack
Yeah.
of incredibly well drawn kind of
Hmm.
obsessive
Well,
erotic kind of,
mhm.
and someone was just checking it out. And there's stuff like that every day, or you see it on the side of the road sometimes. You see people who
Oh yeah.
put out their manga just for disposal.
Just tied up with a piece
Yeah.
of brown string. Yep.
Embarrassment of riches is a phrase that was just made for this situation,
Yes.
I think, isn't it?
And yeah, and that's the stuff that's almost meant to be disposable. But then you'd go into like secondhand bookshops and they would, be floor to ceiling, uh, the actual tankobon,
Yeah,
bound versions of things, right? And you'd go, there's an entire run of Galaxy Express
yeah.
999 in
For those who
Japanese.
don't know,
And they're
for
like,
example, the weekly, that's weekly, and this is just one of them, the weekly famous Shonen Jump magazine is about that thick, isn't
yeah,
it?
yes. And you'll find them discarded on the train. I would often just be on the train and
Oh
be like,
yeah,
there's sitting,
yeah.
somebody had read it and just dumped it
I think
there.
I've got into I've discarded it myself at a certain point because I sometimes dip into it because it has furigana, so it's quite a good learning tool for trying to read
Mm.
kanji is to read Shonen Jump. Yeah, and you just don't know what to do. It's like because if you collect them all, then your floor ends up caving in, like has happened in the past with some otaku
Yes.
apartments, right? So you just
Yeah.
use it
No,
for firewood, wipe your ass in it, or whatever. You
yes.
just need to get rid of it.
So I would go in and I would see these things and I would be like, oh, like fuck, I would love to. And then you'd go, and so yeah, so there, for example, like there is like Devil Man, like the whole run, and the whole run's going to cost you like 600 yen because they're like 100 yen per book or whatever, right? And then you
Yeah,
go to Tower Records and also in Tokyo, and then oh, there's the English translation. Oh shit, they're $30 a piece,
right,
right?
right,
Like
right, right.
3,000 yen for each of them. So if I buy all nine of them or six of them, like I'm going to have spent, hundreds of dollars. So I get back and I walk in and like there's things that I've been wanting to read for years that are now available for free at the library. Like so I read all.
Charles Lawton has died in the interim.
Yes, thankfully that fucker is out of the picture, and now
Apologies to Charles Lawton estate.
some new hip young cool priest kind of
Yeah,
do.
that dancing priest who dances across America, maybe.
That's the one. Yeah.
I forget his
Um.
name, but
So yeah, I remember reading all of I read a ton of Tezuka at this point. So this is where we finally gotten to who wrote what we're talking about. So
yeah,
um Osamu Tezuka Osamu, who is, I suppose, always going to be best known for having created Astro Boy or Tetsuwan Atomu, right?
uh,
But
the dancing priest was Father Liam Finnegan, by the way.
oh, he has to have been an inspiration if he wasn't like, does he predate Father Ted or does he antedate?
No, that's what I'm saying. From Father Dead, the
Oh, he
dancing
was
priest
from Father
is
Ted. Okay,
yes,
there we go.
yes,
Yes, that makes sense. Um, So, so yeah. So basically, I went back and I was like, oh shit, there's all of Buddha, for example, or there's the entire run. Like he wrote that big book about Hitler, right? Like
yeah.
multiple book volume, um, and yeah, it was just there, like for free on the library shelves. Um, and so. I thought for some reason that I had read what we read, Moo
Mm,
or MW. I thought I'd read it back then, but when starting to read it here, I realized quite quickly, no, I would remember this if I had read this before,
yes. I
because
suppose
this
for
is
those who don't know, we should mention Tezuka Osamu, of course, he is most famous for Astro Boy, right?
hmm, I think I did just say that, but that's all
Did
right.
you? Oh, okay. Sorry, I was
Yes,
too busy
I even
looking
said
at
it in Japanese.
Father Ted names.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. So I mean, he is, I think, correctly thought of as being the father of
The Godfather. Yeah,
comics, right? Really.
yeah. Of course,
Uh,
did have an army of people working under him, as was the not
yes.
immediately, but later on, right? Like
Oh yeah.
Shinomori and all those people.
Well, the sheer number of pages that were produced under his name in
Right.
his life is staggering. I went to the Tezuka Museum in
Hmm.
it's somewhere near Kyoto or Osaka. It's in that region of Japan. Anyway,
Right.
went to the museum within my first year of being in Japan, and there's just a room that's just like first editions,
Mm.
and there's no double copies of anything. It's like just one copy of each thing,
Yeah.
uh, and it's an entire wall, floor to ceiling. You go, how
Right.
could one human, even with a team, how could anyone have
Yeah.
done that?
Yeah. Well, what's
It,
interesting is there is a kind of house style as well, which is a really interesting style, right? Because famously he started off influenced by Disney and stuff like
Disney,
that.
yes, yeah,
And but his stuff also has I think we have talked about this. I don't think we've talked Tezuka before, but
I haven't.
he has this kind of weird, so some of it's quite realistic and quite like it's very like clean lines,
Oh yeah,
very easy to understand what's happening, and like very simple, but just very sparse use of, like motion lines and stuff, and it's just you know exactly what's going on. But every now and again, there'll be a character. Like there's one character in Moo. Suddenly, there's this little old man with like a big bushy mustache, and it's like
yes,
straight out of an old Disney cartoon or something like prop
yes.
or Popeye or something.
Well, he had a recurring cast of background characters, and so that specific character is one of the people who
Yes,
shows up in Astro Boy,
the
shows up
Pringle Man.
in yes,
Yeah, but what's
exactly.
interesting is it's not jarring. That's the
No,
thing. It's interesting how it sneaks up on you. You're only like halfway. Well, I was halfway through reading this, and then you realize, oh, that's weird. Like, and I'm even familiar with it, but it just occurred to me again. Like, what a fascinating style, which is has been so influential on the world
yes,
of Japanese comics as well. I mean, obviously, comics have evolved since then in all different ways, but there are definitely people who were influenced by that odd kind of mix, right? Um, but
yeah, yeah,
no one owned it quite like. I mean, we've talked before about Nagai Go, for example, and
yes.
there's definitely elements in his stuff that are like that as well, right?
Mhm.
But no one quite owned it the way Tezuka, because he pioneered it, obviously. But
Yes, yeah. No, I mean this. So this is for me.
Mizuki
This is
Shigeru as well, a little bit.
oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. And uh, Galaxy Express 999 and Captain
Oh,
Harlock,
Leiji Matsumoto.
Matsumoto
Yeah, yeah,
Leiji.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Same kind of thing. And
Absolutely.
all of them were, I think, really good draftsmen. But I think maybe this is a reminder to me. I was like, oh yeah, whenever I go back to Tezuka, I'm like, yeah, he's deserving
Yeah,
of
it's
the
kind of like
plaudits.
a good analogy would be you see a John Ford film that you've never seen before after having not seen a John Ford film for a decade, and then
Right.
you're like, oh fuck, Jesus Christ,
R-
John Ford knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah, exactly. Kurosawa is the same, right?
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah,
I'm always like, yeah. Um, so So apparently, so this is interesting because yeah, I mean, a lot of his earlier stuff, right, was aimed at children, right? I mean, certainly Astro, even though sometimes the subject matter, he didn't treat kids like kids. I mean,
right.
there was always a tendency, and in that way that Japanese literature for children has always um has always been a bit more serious. Has
Well,
always
it
been a
doesn't
bit
shield them from the sad elements of life, right?
yes.
I've not read it, but famously, it's the thing that the Lion King ripped off, right? The Simba the White Lion.
Oh
I'm
yes.
assuming that's probably full of death and
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
sadness.
Um, so, but apparently, so at some point, so this what we read is MW or Mu, which is from 76 to 78. It was serialized in Big Gu Komiku, uh,
Yes,
Shoga, so Shogakukan was the publisher,
yeah,
um, and it's been when it's talked about as his response to the Gekiga kind of
right, right.
revolution in Japan at the time. So there were a series of artists in Japan who were trying to write. We talked about I can't remember his name now, but we talked about that he did a floating
Bushman
light
guy, yeah.
in Portugal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we talked about Garo
Yes,
and a few other things, right? Yeah.
yeah. So this is going on, and I do feel like this is Tezuka going, okay, all right,
Oh, yeah.
hold my shochu.
Right, right.
I'm gonna fucking show you how it's done.
He's Dennis Hopper at the end of tracks. You want to go to Nam? I'll take you to Nam. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so this is not your granny's Tezuka.
No,
This
no, no, no,
this
no.
from the get-go is he's pulling a lot of threads together that are really interesting. And some of it is very sensational and kind of like borderline like too far, which is kind of interesting from Tezuka. And other stuff is like, oh, that's a really interesting or heavy or important thing to be talking about, right? So,
Yeah, it's a bit like where some of those films where someone from the old guard kind of made a new wave post Easy Rider, post
hmm,
Corman film, and the results are like in some ways go even further, but also feel kind of a little bit retrograde and
right.
as someone trying to figure out this because wasn't he famously like not just that the Gekiga was like different from wasn't I remember wasn't Tezuka like famously kind of slightly in opposition to Gekiga? Wasn't he? Didn't he like rally against it a
I
little bit?
think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see him kind of
Dive headfirst
yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So to very, very briefly kind of try to explain the story, because it is very, it kind of goes in fits and starts, and it can
yeah.
be a bit episodic and
Before
stuff.
you started,
Yeah.
one thing that I would wanted to because it's not really made, but I was just if you if you if you work backwards from the timeline of the comic, it's
Hmm.
never actually said front and center. Is this set in like the near future?
Yeah, hard to say. I don't
Because
know.
there's stuff about the protests against the video, and I'm
Yeah.
placing that as early as like 68, 69,
Yeah.
70, and that's 16 years before, right? So that would be mid 80s.
Oh,
And
so
the
yes,
comics 76, 78. So
could well be set in the near future.
yeah,
Yeah, that does make
even
sense.
they don't say that, but and it
Yes.
doesn't really make a difference, I suppose. But it
I
doesn't try
do
and
love
anticipate. There's no anticipating 80s technology or anything about it.
no, no.
No.
Um, but I do. So basically, so the story concerns a very strange relationship between a priest, Father Garai, and a young, uh,
Dancing priest.
yes, a dancing priest, yeah, and a young, I guess, like a sociopath, right? Michio Yuki, who when the story begins works as a kind of a banker, but
Yes.
as the story goes on, he turns out to be a fairly nasty piece of work for
Well,
reasons
he's
not
a
entirely
he's a
his own fault.
serial kidnapper, isn't he? At first, when we
Yes.
first meet him, that's what he
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
And he's into all, I mean, he definitely has no issues with murdering and dismembering people.
No,
He's a
even after
rapist.
they pay up.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He's a piece of work. He has a very close relationship with his dog that goes into Pushman
Yes.
Three,
Yeah.
which is
That was yes, that
like
was entirely unnecessary and unexpected.
mhm.
That
Especially from
was
Tezuka.
yeah,
Especially from Tezuka.
that bit really kind of it's again it just goes up to the line and then cuts off. It's never quite
Yeah.
fully inappropriate, but it's definitely alluded to that
Yep.
there's a bit of, yeah,
Something's
man
going on
or
there
a
that's not quite.
canine hot love
Yeah.
action going on between the panels. Uh,
Yes, yes. And then later on, that same dog bites the Mr. Pringle guy's dick off, which is also a
yes.
completely bizarre
And the
moment.
happy denouement is that is him burning the dog to death alive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
pretty dark. A lot of this comic is pretty dark.
Yeah, yeah. For Tezuka, it really is. You kind of you're yeah. You're constantly kind of going, whoa, whoa, Tezuka. This is a lot. But basically, so the reason that as the story unfolds, we realize that the reason that Michio Yuki potentially one of the reasons why he is the person he is um, as a child he was on the same day basically raped or at least it's non-consensual uh,
Certainly groomed.
groomed, yes, by this person who ends up becoming a priest later on, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely an age difference.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we're
He's like a kid. He's like a proper like
he's a
preteen, uh,
yes,
and
and
he's a
the other guy's
grown man, right? Yeah.
well, like I mean, I think he's supposed to be 18 or 19, but regardless, it's still not okay, right? There's no
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
There's no question that it's not okay. And so at this point in Father Garai's life, he's actually attached to a kind of like a
Before he
student.
was the grooming priest before he was the dancing priest, I
There we
guess.
go.
Yes.
So
Sadly, not something of fiction.
no. So he's down in yeah, actually it's quite in many ways it's quite an early anticipator of much of what we now know about the Catholic Church. Um, but anyway, they're all in Okinawa when it begins, right? They're on this little island,
Yes.
which is very well drawn. I mean, like actually well drawn because it really looks like if you spent any time, it looks like Takatomi to me, which is a place I've been. I
Right.
wondered if that was one of the inspirations. But
You mean the
anyway,
plaza in Die Hard?
no, that's Nakatomi.
Okay.
um, but anyway, yeah. So they're on this island. This is where he basically the kid is kidnapped, right, by this gang of like roughneck hippie uh,
Pirates
pirate guys that
called the
uh,
Crows.
yes.
Not Crow Zero, I'm guessing, but
No, no, no. But
no.
some kind of karasu anyway. And part of this is definitely there's an element of I think Tezuka having a go at the student left, the kind of that,
Right.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, this is
Um,
although he does say to his credit, he doesn't just say this is a radical group. He does mention like within the context there were like mo just criminal gangs
yes.
disguising themselves
Yeah,
as political radicals. So he does go that far to say that.
this is
He's
true.
not just painting them all with the same brush.
No,
By the way,
and it,
we forgot to mention, not only does he murder his kidnapped victims, there's one in particular, one of his kidnapped victims, he gives her a drug that causes extreme vaginal contraction
yes.
and then rapes her to death.
Yes.
But you will feel ecstasy just before. And it's drawn like that as well, that she is like, fuck, this is good. Oh, like,
Yeah.
yeah, Tezuka's not playing.
No, no, it's really an outlier, I think, in his.
I just thought that was worth underlining.
It's
Um,
just what, but there's so many scenes in it where you're like, I mean, at one point, so he marries a young woman who's the daughter of a political guy who basically, as it turns out, is connected to the reasons why he is the fucked up person he is. So yeah, so he has married this, and it's for political expediency, and it's in order to kind of bring down this politician guy that, and also ultimately to get this weapon of mass destruction, which we will get to, which is the title of the story. But basically, anyway, he ends up then dispensing with her because one of the features we haven't talked about yet is that our young psychopath is also an expert female impersonator, right? His older brother is a kabuki actor who specializes in playing women, but he
yes,
also makes a very fetching young lady. So he often actually uses that to kind of further
yeah.
his, you
This is an
know,
interesting element as well that's kind of makes perfect sense and needs no explanation in Japan. But I think outside, some territories don't quite have, well, we do have it, we have like, but there isn't this level of like we have boy bands and stuff, for
Mm.
instance, in UK or America or whatever. But
Yeah.
and they're pretty boys, but
Hmm.
they're a little bit closer to being more traditionally kind of manly or butch or something, right?
Right.
Whereas some uh not just Japanese boy bands, but yeah, like really pretty
Mm.
actors,
Yeah.
stage actors especially, but also screen actors, who special there's and the whole boys love comics thing.
Right.
There's like there's a fully heterosexual fueled attraction to very female dudes
Mm.
for some women in Japan. Like
Yes.
it's a strong enough
Yeah.
demographic that it's not considered weird or marginal or anything like that, right? So
No, I remember stumbling into, and it was really interesting. I remember stumbling into something on Japanese TV later at night once, and it was these young guys in their like late teens, early 20s, very kind of feminine, presented for consumption by like the gays, and whether that like constructed, I mean, I assume it was aimed at women. I mean, it could also be aimed at gay men, right? But I
mm,
mean, Japanese TV is more likely to be have officially been aimed at women, right?
yes,
And I never really seen men presented in this super passive way, in that way that like women have often throughout my life, growing up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, right? Like that's kind of the way women
you
tend to be
demanded them
presented
to
to the
be.
male gaze, right? Sorry.
Nothing.
Did not catch that. We'll assume it was all above board.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, and I remember being like, "Oh, that's weird. That's all kind of makes me a bit uncomfortable in a way to see my sex
The
presented
shoe is
in
on the other schlong now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, in a way, it was cool because I was like, wow, this is I've never seen this before. I assume that there is kind of twink, porn, right? That would be aimed at like more like bear type of men who are attracted to more effeminate looking guys, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure it exists in the gay porn world.
yeah,
Um, but this was like on TV in Japan, and it was
right.
like an idol kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're right. It's totally a thing. Anyway, getting back to this, so he ends up
There
murdering
used to be
his new
awesome stuff on late night. You don't get as much. I think it's migrated to the web. I
right.
used to thoroughly enjoy of a Friday night the Miniskirt Police show, if you remember that.
I think I do, yes.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah. So our psychopathic protagonist, or one of them anyway, he ends up killing his new wife because he's done with her and he's going to just take her place anyway for some other crimes. And he chops all her fingers off, burns her face off, and then throws her under a Shinkansen.
Yes.
And then sends the fingers in a bag back to her dad.
Yeah.
And all I remember thinking was like, do 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 Astro Boy. Like, what? Can you imagine being a kid? Like, I mean, I'm sure like Roald Dahl ran into this occasionally, right? Because he did have the other hat, right? He wrote the twits and that stuff, but he would also write stuff like My Uncle Oswald, which is quite ribald and involves like a lot of collecting of sperm and things like that. Like there's, um, but this is more so.
Yeah.
If you were a kid who was like, oh, what's the new Tezuka manga? Uh,
Right. Moo. Oh, must be about talking cows.
Cows. Yeah, yeah.
This will be pleasant. This will be
Yeah,
ripped off by the Cow King in Disney in the 90s.
exactly.
Um,
Um,
so spoilers, by the way, I think we should warn on this one because if we're going to talk about it
yes.
fully. So going back to you, it's interesting. You only mentioned the grooming in the cave on the island, not the other stuff, which is arguably
Yes, yeah,
more
which,
important.
which is which
Yes,
is incredibly important, yes, to the
yes,
story. So basically, there's a gas leak. It turns out that the island. So this is one of my other favorite things. So Nation X, who has military bases in Okinawa, Who could they be?
I've no
Who could
idea.
this nation be? Anyway,
Lithuania.
Nation X. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, they have these bases, and apparently they've been manufacturing chemical weapons there. Now, it is it is a fact, right? It's fairly well established that
It's a fact
there
that I've
was.
just made up. I
Yes,
know it
exactly.
to be true.
No, I remember reading about it. I'm pretty sure I read about this in the book about that Italian American Nick fellow who lived in Japan and had his
Oh,
pizza restaurant,
yeah, yeah.
Tokyo Underground.
Yes.
I think
Okay, Underworld.
in Tokyo Underworld, yeah. I think it was in that I first read about this thing where the
Which, to be fair, is not necessarily a straight up 100% confirmed document, but
fair enough,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But basically, certainly there was widespread belief that the US had nuclear weapons in Okinawa, despite the fact that there was an agreement between Japan and the US that they would never
Hmm.
have, given the history, right? That and yeah, so there was a lot of questions, and then I don't know. It seems like Tezuka seems to have a firm belief that there was also um, chemical weapons being,
Right, right.
manufactured in Okinawa too, which again were being used in Vietnam.
Well, it's interesting actually. This is a rabbit hole that I've gone down a number of times and then been forced to turn back because the hole doesn't go deep yet. But
Right,
even earlier than that as well, right? Is so there's a whole kind of weird, secret, hidden history involving whether America used chemical weapons in the Korean
right.
War as well, right? And of course, they would have had, bases
Fixes.
nearby in Japan then. And so Errol Morris made that documentary a few years ago, Wormwood. I don't know if you saw that
Right? No.
documentary serial um, about a lot of things, about things like MK Ultra. It's
Right.
a really interesting. It's a very slow moving mini that if anyone else had made it, I'd find it kind of infuriating. But and it's part Saigen as well, weirdly enough. But
Okay.
Errol Morris pulls it off really. But it's one of those. It's interesting because it is Errol Morris, a bit like he did uh, recently with his Charles Manson documentary. Actually, is it's him kind of dabbling in stuff that's just on the edge of going into La La Land conspiracy theory
Hmm.
stuff, but
Yep.
also, well, hang on, there's some stuff here, but we still don't know what it is. So that whole use of chemical weapons in the Korean War is like it seems as if there's enough kind of scraps of evidence from,
Mhm.
because if you look far away, if you look, for instance, which you can't do as much now, there was that short period of time where, for instance, Russia opened up its vaults, right?
Right.
And people could go in and find documents, and that's closed again now.
Right.
But there was a period
Hmm.
of time where that was so. And if you go to like Chinese sources and stuff like that, um, you find more evidence that this stuff might have happened. But again, you don't know how much of that is misinformation
Right.
or
Propaganda.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, sorry, tangent, but it's a fascinating topic, which I think we're still awaiting the definitive history of,
Mhm.
if we'll ever get it.
Right. So yeah, as you said, after consummating their very disturbing relationship, this guy goes on to become a priest, and this like preteen boy, they come out of the cave and discover everyone on the island's dead. That there's been
Hmm.
this leak of this toxic chemical, um, and basically we flash forward 16 years, and at this point the kid has inhaled the gas as a child, and it maybe it's the reason. It's not necessarily established as the only reason,
No, no,
but it's a possible reason why. Certainly he's suffering from a lot of headaches, and as the story goes on we realize he's actually dying basically of potentially of his exposure to this moo
maybe.
gas, MW, maybe.
Because
um
he is, I mean, we won't reveal it, but there's like one final twist
yes,
there, which is just
which is
like,
a
oh. Yeah,
Yes. It's unclear. It's unclear, but yeah,
yeah.
it seems to suggest something. Or it could also suggest potentially that his whole family is deeply disturbed. It's, because we don't know 100%. But
Yeah, so
but yeah.
now he's rising the ranks. Like you said, he's working in the banking sector and he's become invaluable to his
Mm,
employers. And like you said, he's marrying into certain families and things like that, and kind of gaining political traction slowly. And
mm,
his end goal seems to be, yeah, so this the gas that was released is still being housed somewhere, and he wants to get his hands on it. And
yep.
at first we're like, oh, and so yeah, the priest character, he confesses to the priest, right? He confesses to the priest,
Yes.
and the priest, obviously, because he's a member of the clergy, he can't tell the police
Hmm.
because the police are investigating this whole time. And
Right.
so,
But also he
and you think he
won't.
wants revenge for what happened in his childhood, but it's not even that simple. He's just like, no, I just want to kill people. Like he's a very
Yeah.
interesting, multifaceted, sociopathic character, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Ultimately, he's kind of in the Aum cult kind of like school of like he just wants to kill but if he can everyone in the entire world. That's his kind of his end goal is a mass extinction event that he
He's
will be
like,
the architect of.
isn't that what the villain in the what's his name? Freddie Mercury wanted to do in the last Bond film?
Right.
And
Yes.
wasn't he using like chemical weapons,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
which
Totally.
weirdly enough is part of, I think, if I remember correctly, it's not in the film so much, but I think in the original You Only Live Twice novel, when James Bond is just a humble Japanese fisherman, doesn't he go to, in the book, doesn't he go to like an island which is basically that from that last Bond film where the villain is growing like all sorts of poisonous shit,
Yes. I think you're right. Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
don't think is in the obviously the volcano and stuff, but I don't think he's growing
Hmm.
poisonous shit in the film, is he? They changed the film.
I'm glad
And
we
then
got
they,
back to I'm glad we got back to Roald Dahl because Roald Dahl wrote the script to
yes,
You Only
yes,
Live Twice.
after going to Japan and
Yes.
lifting stuff from
Yes,
uh
the Band of Assassins films.
yes, yes.
Yes, the whole scene with them there dripping the poison down the thing is all, yeah.
Yes, and what's his name? Wakayama episode Tommy Saburo walks around stroking a white cat in it as well.
Yes, yeah, 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 yeah. Um,
Fascinating.
but yeah, so and the other thing that I think we haven't kind of really made clear enough, and so there's another reason why Father Garai is not
Ah,
turning
yes,
Yuki is because they're having an ongoing relationship.
yes,
Uh, And one of the
yes.
most bravura pieces of art in the entire book is this incredible. I don't know how well it's going to show up here on the screen, um, but
We can
basically,
reenact it if we were in the same room, Nick.
yeah,
But
perfect. So it begins with kind of like, a kind of a standard set of panels showing, stuff going on, and then we get into. So there's quite a lot of what I think would be like yaoi, right? If that's how I'm saying that right. The kind of like boy love manga kind of stuff in there.
uh,
It's an early adopter of this. But slowly this transforms from like standard Japanese comic stuff to quite a beautiful reworking
mm,
of Aubrey Beardsley's illustrations to
yes,
Oscar Wilde's
yes.
whatever this like Salome or whatever.
I
Yeah,
wonder
that's
if
that's
Tezuka drew them.
Oh, he did. Yeah. I mean, he has gone and he's taken and then yeah, he's
No,
adapted.
no, no. I don't mean did he rip it out? I mean, did he draw it, or was one of his minions drawing it?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but it's an amazing. I've never seen anything quite like it in a comic before. Like to kind of just slowly blend into
Yeah,
another artist's style and like
yeah.
to do this beautiful visual
It
quotation.
almost slipped by me actually, and because it is so smoothly done, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's not like a jarring kind of thing.
But we
Uh,
have, I think Jen is a huge fan of Aubrey Beardsley, so we have a number of books in the house. So immediately I was like,
right.
holy shit, he's just slowly moved in and then back out of a Beardsley
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sort
yeah.
of piece. Um, but it's just one of, I mean, it's beautifully illustrated throughout. And yet he still does some of those silly kind of funny things that he does. Like, for example, every now and again, if a character's being a real pig or an asshole, he'll physically actually turn into this weird little kind of like
Right,
lumpy
right.
potato thing with a pig nose, which is goes right back to
Yeah, he's got a big old box of tools. Let's put it that way.
yes.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I want to say about this other than this is this is really good,
yeah. Oh well,
also
we
really
should.
quite problematic in some
Well,
ways.
there's more. I suppose the more problematic stuff, maybe depending on how you decide to take it, is yeah the homosexual relationship when it intersects with. So there's a whole but a number of other female characters which Yuki has seduced, and there's like a number of there's like a love hexagon or something by the end of it.
Yes.
And I think that stuff. So I suppose the major elephant in the room, I suppose,
Hmm.
is what's because in some ways that stuff is very tenderly drawn. I mean, literally drawn
Yeah.
and drawn,
Yep.
but
Hmm.
also at the same time, there is an element where the homosexuality is kind of um it's almost like a further aspect of his criminality or his
Yes.
sociopathic tendencies. And
Yes.
I'm certainly I don't think I don't think the comic overall comes across as offensive. I don't think. I wouldn't be the person to make
Right.
that call. But I but there are definitely there's just little bits here and there that strike me as yeah, the homosexuality is, if not straight up homophobic, I'm not saying that, but there's a there's an element of othering which some
Yes.
people might feel a little bit
Yep. No,
queasy.
I
Is
think
that
you're right.
fair?
No, I think you are 100% right. And yeah, there's an element of it presented as deviance, right? I
Right,
think.
yes, that's the word I'm looking for, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's and actually I read a review of it which posited that maybe in a way there's like a veiled criticism of Mishima here.
Oh,
And specific to the fact that like so there's actually one character who's quite negatively drawn, who's like a lefty professor type of guy or a writer, or, who sort of is involved on the outskirts of like he has like younger like thugs or whatever that work for him,
yeah, he's
right?
like an agitator, isn't he?
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
but he
Well,
doesn't want to get his hands dirty. He always kind of wants to keep a
yes.
distance
Well,
from.
here's a interesting. You've nailed something there you probably weren't aware of. So I'll talk very very briefly about the film version, which was
Hmm,
eventually made in whenever it was made, 2007 or something, eight or something like that, 2009. Um, but when this was no, hang on, that can't be right. No, hang on. Someone told me this, and I've just realized this can't be true. So
okay,
I'm actually not going to say it now.
okay.
Um,
But this book is written not that long after I think uh Misha was like massive incredible flame out, right? Like
well, it's
his
quite a few years. When was that? Set 1970, right?
right. This is 75, so it's I mean it's a couple of years later. Um,
Um, right. No, no.
and I guess
Someone told me
right.
that an earlier version, a proposed version of the film, was supposed to have cast Mishima as Father Garai,
Right.
but
Oh,
that
but yeah, no,
can't be
that
because
can't be the
he was
case.
long
Yeah,
dead,
or death.
unless
Yes,
they were planning to weekend at Bernie's it. Um,
right. Huh. Um, yeah, yeah. I guess the other thing that I maybe before we get because I want to hear about the movie because I haven't seen it, but I would
you
say is
really
that like
don't.
there's definitely quite like a visceral acerbic attack on like Japanese politics of a certain kind, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
like the politician characters and the ruling party are presented.
lobbying and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite
But
gross.
also, let's not lose sight as well that like when it turns into like a hijacking thriller,
Oh, at the
and there's
end,
a
yeah.
plane and adventure and so
Well,
it's a real,
there's some great action,
yeah,
yeah, throughout. Um,
and a
yeah,
bit, just on the edge of acceptable sudden last minute. Yes, his brother turns up to impersonate, stuff like that,
Mhm. Yes,
like
yeah,
it's okay, yeah, you can get away with it.
yeah. Actually, there's almost a bit of Edo Gawarampo too, because we do have this sort
Yes,
of like big-nosed detective character who kind
yes,
of comes in and out of the story and almost anticipates like Death Notes, like L or something like that. I thought like the kind of the flamboyant, detective who,
yeah.
yeah,
There's a one chapter which is like like Prison Break
yep,
chapter. There's
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
There's a lot chucked in the pot, isn't there?
Hmm.
Um. So yeah. So I mean, so what was it? I mean, for me, it's I don't think it's probably I haven't. It made me realize I do need to read more Tezuka as well. But
Hmm.
um, from what I have read, it's not. I don't think it's. I don't think it's in the time capsule of the best of.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
Tezuka at
No,
his
no.
zenith.
Buddha is really good. I mean, like
Okay.
if you want to read, I think uh Tezuka for adults, maybe Buddha is the place to go.
Are there scenes of him of Siddhartha getting it on with a young Jesus Christ?
I think there are, yeah.
Awesome.
Actually, what I love about that is that it is a fairly it'd be like it. I mean, it's just the brass balls on Tezuka. Like it'd be like deciding I'm going to adapt the Bible, but I don't trust that the Bible is actually that fun. So I'm going to have every second or third chapter be an entirely new set of characters that I've invented that I will insert
Right.
into the biblical narrative to make sure that people are actually interested and engaged. Because
Sorry, I assume you're familiar with Saint Young Men.
no,
Or Saint Young Men was a comic. I turned it into an anime series, and there's a live action series as well, which has yeah, a young Jesus and a young
oh yes,
Buddha
yes, I do. Yeah, they
sharing an
live in an apartment together.
apartment in
It's kind of like a
Tokyo.
young
Yeah,
one. It's like a religious young ones kind of a thing. Yes.
kind of. Yeah, yeah,
And Jesus is really cool and is always getting the ladies, and Buddha's bummed out because his hair is all kind of weird and like girls are
yeah,
not that attracted to him.
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite fun.
It's conceptually more fun maybe than, I mean, they stretch the joke a little bit for me,
Right.
but it's, I'm glad it exists. It's an interesting
Mhm.
concept.
I
Um
always wanted I always wanted to do one about like the sons of God and they would live in the same house. It would like be Hercules and Thor and Jesus and like basically all the other sons of God
yeah,
are like
yeah,
huge
yeah.
macho dudes.
Don't let Cole do the washing up. Ah, he's broken all the plates again. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're all just
It's
mystified
rubber
by
gloves.
and they're all just mystified by Jesus's kind of like wafy, like, like he's just not a guy who rides six horses to death to get
Right.
anywhere. He
Yeah, they
doesn't
keep
throw any paper.
slapping him manfully in the shoulder and he's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Um, there's a good use
Anyway,
for
yeah,
air.
so back to my thoughts on Moon. Yeah, so however, that said, it is fascinating to see Tezuka,
Get his hands dirty.
yeah, playing around in an area he didn't normally, as far as I know, play around in, and really, really go for it. And
Yep.
it's massively entertaining. So the whole thing, I think in Japan it's in three tankobon volumes, and there's a translated English one we read all in one. It's like 600 pages, pretty big. But it'll take you like a couple of hours. So it's like sitting down with like a feature film, basically.
Yes, pretty
Um,
much.
no, it's very, very satisfying, if not totally integrated. But that's fine. I don't
Yeah.
need totally integrated
Yeah,
novels.
yeah. No,
I
no. Yes, it's not a masterpiece. And it's not his best work, but even like mediocre Tezuka is great,
right,
right? And this
right.
is above mediocre. This is somewhere.
Oh yeah,
This is
it's yeah.
somewhere. This is
I mean, if this came
75%.
out now as a new graphic novel,
Mhm.
I think people would be very impressed.
Mhm. Yeah. So the film then.
Yeah.
What, I mean, how, I mean, it's just amazing to me that they would have even just thought like, oh yeah, it's definitely time. It's time to bring this to the
I
screen.
wonder if there was a reissue or something, or like when they did the Crab Cannery Ship film, or something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But well, the thing is, I remember the film coming out and I ignored it. I don't think I realized what the Tezuka connection was, but judging from the poster and the way it looked like a pretty boy action film. Hiroshi Tamaki's the guy. What's his name? Yamada, who my wife fancies, is the other guy, the priest. Him I like. I don't mind him. He's the guy who plays the naked director on Netflix, right? And
Okay.
yeah, he's good. I like him. He's a good actor. I've seen him a couple of times as well on sets because I've worked as an extra on a couple of things that he's in.
Hmm.
There's that new Netflix series, what's it called, Last Samurai Standing or whatever. I did a day extra work and he was there. It was his last day, so they do the whole arigato
Oh
gozaimasu,
yeah.
giving him the flowers and all that. And yeah.
Right.
So I don't mind him. I don't like Tamaki Hiroshima so much. He's very all kind of he's all surface
Right.
kind of looks a bit like Yuki, not maybe feminine enough, but
Mhm.
yeah. So so after reading the comic, I was like, yeah, they're not going near half the shit
Mhm.
in this. There's
Yep.
no way.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, um, they're not lovers in the film.
Okay.
They're just like friends who
Hmm.
happen to be on the island, and there's a lot more like soldiers gunning people down. And uh, so, full disclosure, I didn't finish the film
Okay.
because 5 minutes in, I was bored shitless. Like straight away, there's an
Wow.
opening scene in Bangkok, and it's like one of the kidnapping scenes, and someone's trying to get the money, and so from the get go, it just had that feel of just, oh, I can tell this is like, and they've ripped out a lot of that, and they've replaced them with the characters that they think should be in this kind of thriller
Hmm.
rather than what's in the comic. So there's
Right.
like a female journalist investigating that isn't
In
in
the oh, yep.
comic at all, and of course, she's having pushback from her editor, and no, this story is no good. It's being
Hmm.
nice, and she's kind of feisty and needs to find the story. And
And she's not even played by Laura Gemser, I'm assuming.
no,
So
exactly, with a camera and a doll with a loud shutter noise, or in her
right.
breast, like Chesty Morgan in Deadly Weapon. No,
Right.
it's just it. What I mean is, it's stuff that it's stuff that they've imported from other Hollywood thrillers circa 2009, and it's annoying. It's like just go with the source. Okay, you might not want to have him fucking his dog. I understand that.
Yes.
But you can put the gay stuff in for fuck's sake. You don't have to make it explicit.
It's a major part of this book.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so it just annoyed me. I suspected that would be the case, and it was tenfold. And I think I made it 40 minutes in, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be nice to myself today.
Yes.
I'm not. You've got to do it now and again. You have to be nice. You got to be kind. God damn it, you got to be kind. And sometimes you got to be kind to yourself. So I decided, no, I'm not gonna finish this. I'm not gonna write about it. I'm not gonna because I'm not qualified. I haven't finished it. The last 80 minutes might be fucking Solaris, but I doubt it. Right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no,
No.
I wouldn't wreck the film based on what I've seen.
Okay.
It was pretty not slick enough, well put together, but entirely generic. It's like they've taken all the interesting stuff from the comic and
Right.
thrown it away. Uh, you know, as far as I could tell.
Hmm.
I would be
Yeah.
very surprised if that played out in nothing interesting is left. The main character is still kind of ruthless. He guns down the kidnapping victim, but it's
Hmm.
so telegraphed, you know.
Oh, I wonder if so it came out in 2009. When did the Death Note live action film come out?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe around then, or
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was maybe the thing that
what's the
m-
connection with Death Note?
uh well, it's more actually I suppose whether or not the oh no, actually it's quite a bit later on. Never mind. Yeah.
Really, the Japanese Death Note, not the American one?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, no, yeah, 2006. No, you're right. Actually, so it is. Yeah, okay. Hmm. Just because like when the detective shows up, like the kind of the flamboyant and slightly weird detective with the big nose and the long hair, it did make me, and then we have this kind of psychotic lead, right? And it becomes a bit of a cat and
Hmm.
mouse game between them. It did remind me a little bit of, it anticipated some of what Death Note
Ah, okay.
does.
Yeah, I know. I don't know
Because
why
it
they
doesn't have the,
made the film then, but I wish they hadn't.
yeah, yeah, no.
I think the way to go, I mean, you don't need to do anything. The graphic novel is fine, but I think maybe animated miniseries is probably the way to go with this if you're going to insist on making a screen
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
I'm kind of surprised there isn't because I was quickly looking at, at the IMDb, um, Tezuka or Osamu adaptations.
Mhm.
And yeah, there's a lot of them, and they're still coming out all the time. So I'm kind of surprised they haven't got to Mu as an anime.
Right. But again, maybe because it's such an outlier and the subject
Yeah,
matter
but
is
I
so.
have a feeling in the world of anime, you're allowed to get away with a lot more stuff than you would in live action.
Does the estate, does Tezuka's estate kind of consider it to be a bit of a black sheep or a shaggy dog or a kind of like, you know what?
Don't talk
We're not
about
going to
dogs.
draw, we're not going to draw too much attention. Yes, exactly. We're not going to draw too much attention to that.
Especially don't use the word dog and shag in the same.
Yeah, maybe not.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it's definitely a shaggy dog tail, no question.
Oh, yep. Well, yeah, that seemed to be the way it was going. Um, anyway,
Anyway,
that's that
yes.
then.
Yeah, I have to say, in defense of myself, I hadn't read this before, and I didn't realize it was going to be this full on. So I
Yeah,
was pleasantly surprised, but also kind of thinking, oh, great, another book that's got all kinds of problematic shit in it that now I have to talk about
yeah,
publicly.
yeah. We're
Oh,
definitely on some sort of register by now, I think, after a few
I
of these
suspect.
episodes. And we haven't even got to Urosakudoji yet.
Yes.
Um,
Anyway,
yes. Until
so
next.
maybe not the place to start your Tezuka collection.
No,
But
no, but no, definitely worth a read. Definitely worth a read.
yeah, agreed.
Right. Until next time, then, that's been your Prolix Comics Bollocks.
Toodle pip.